Congo, looking very small and young. But I wanted to make sure that I and the court were respected by the body class. After hearing a particular case at the Caravan Magistrates Court for a while, I looked at my watch and saw that it was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I first said it in English, and the interpreter announced it in Mandinka that I was rising for 30 minutes to go and perform my Salifana prayers. I rose and took my small prayer mat from the vehicle and went to the standpipe near the commissioner's office and started taking ablution. I could hear from the people in the crowd speaking to one another saying, "Hey, Musisi Jojo menka kiti wa den ko abita Salifana salola ngang happy." I knew my message was well understood. I did my prayers, went back to court with the assurance of a great deal of respect from the body members. I can go on and on to show that we Africans have it in our tradition to run our lives, our families, and our societies in peace and harmony. But I could not do the same in Banjul a few years after the experience in Mansakongo. As principal magistrate in Banjul, a case of fraudulent false accounting was brought before me. The young man charged with the offense came from my village, Sambang. In fact, his father was so fond of me as a child that when my father put me in school at Dankung, and I really had to trek the 4 miles from Sambang to Dankung, his father instructed him to be going with me. When we go to the school, he would sit outside and wait for me until after school and we'd trek back to Sambang. Eventually, he joined the school and became a pupil. It was this same young man who many years later was brought before me, the principal magistrate, charged with fraud and false accounting in the agriculture department where he was an accounts clerk. I pleaded with the then Chief Justice, Sir Philip Regis, an Englishman, to excuse me from this case on family grounds. He refused. I had the case and convicted him. This is a part of what I said when passing sentence to him, openly crying in court. Mr. Mahmoud Bari, you are convicted of all the counts of the charge against you. Yes, Mahmoud, I know you. You are my brother, all the way from our little village of Sambang in the Nyamens. I sent you to school in the early 1950s. Despite all that, I have a duty to my country. It is a heavy duty, at times most unpleasant, just as it is for me now passing sentence on my own brother. But I have sworn to do justice to all manner of people, without fear of favor, affection, or ill will. I intend never to quake or to quiver from that duty, much less to a brother who has brought such dishonor and disgrace to our family and friends. I feel that the rampant rate at which this deadly, quick, fraudulent squandering of state funds is now going on is both alarming and abominable. And the attitude of this court is that such offenders who are mortgaging the future of this country for their own individual selfish ends should be so punished in such a way that others will be deterred from the practice. That was on the 21st of June, 1979. I could not go back to Sambang, the village. They could not easily understand or accept why a son of the village should send another son of the village to prison. Our family, Jaliba, Demba Jankubu, then living in Sokon, had the news. He rushed to the village, and the village assembled, and he said, "Have you heard?" They said, "What? That father has sent Mahmoud to prison?" They sadly acknowledged that they have heard. He said, "Is the world coming to an end?" Demba Jankubu left Sambang and came to Banjul, and with the assistance of Mansour Njai, he did a program on Radio Gambia and played the halam and sang the tune Mbay Yaw Dinga Jombu Barina. And then Janga no, it's a Janga Mok Danga Bersatala. when Demba sang that song on Radio Gambia and I heard it, the next day I resigned from the position of principal magistrate and established Fana Chambers. These are some of the challenges, difficulties, frustrations, agonies, and ecstasies in my life as a magistrate. There were more as state counsel, as defense counsel, as private practitioner, or as Attorney General and Minister of Justice. You also are bound to face these in time to come. You must always be strong and courageous and resolute while remaining attached to the community, loyal to its values, and integrated in its social system. But there are ecstasies as well. After my son Malik was admitted to the bar in a ceremony like this, I sat him down to tell him the tidbits of advocacy which you will never find in any book. I told him, if you have a case in which Surahata S.D. Jane is involved, the doing of the bar, try to sit on his right. If you see him drawing the picture of a pigeon, he will be very easy to deal with. He will not oppose an application for an adjournment and will not ask for cause. But if you see him drawing the picture of an eagle, he has mastered his case, both law and fact, to his fingertips, and will be ready to address an international conference on negligence. If you see him drawing the picture of a vulture, he is dead. He said, what about Uncle Antuman Gay? I said, Uncle Antuman never comes to court late. If he does, he is in trouble. If you see him coming to court, just as at the moment when his case is called and starts saying, Milord, 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 he is not well prepared. Attack. He said, what about Uncle Usenu? I said, Uncle Usenu has a very good voice. He has a thunderous voice. And when he is well prepared, he has a very cynical smile. But if you see him jumping up and down as if nobody is taller than me, he is not well prepared. He said, Papa, what about Uncle Musa Bitey? I said, if you see Mr. Bitey standing erect, using words as if he's trying to count them, and the gown sliding down from the left shoulder, be careful of him. So what about Auntie Janet Salanjai? You see, if you see Auntie Janet's hands behind her back, her right forefinger rubbing her wedding ring, she will not tolerate it from any man. Your Excellency, Anthony Allott, Professor of African Law, University of London, and the most renowned leading expert on African law, points out in a fourth book of African law that the legal scene in post-colonial Africa is reminiscent, if you will permit the fans, of a wild beach from which the tide has receded. The eye notices stranded upon the shore, deposits of extraneous material left behind on the ebb of colonial overload. Here one sees substantial portions of the English, French, Belgian, Portuguese, Spanish, or the laws turn away from the main body of the indigenous system as the fundamental and general law and the regulated continuance of traditional African law and judicial institutions. In its published epoch-making BBC documentary, The Africans, A Triple Heritage, the veteran anthropologist